keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. That I will achieve, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good. So I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow.
Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, it's time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time for me to say good night for yet another edition of Straight Talk on Thursday, the 8th day of December. Yes, it's December, the year of our Lord 2022. And time for me to say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis. Good night to the entire Caribbean region. We go as far south as Trinidad and beyond. Sometimes we get to Venezuela. Haven't got any messages from down that far in a long time. And Guyana. I always keep forgetting Guyana as well. And we come all the way up to the Windward Islands, Barbados. Good night, Barbados. Good night, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And St. Lucia, Dominica. And, of course, Guadeloupe, Martinique, Antigua, Barbuda. I forgot my dear friends in Montserrat some time ago, and I beg your forgiveness. I go across to St. Eustatius, Sabre, St. Bartholomew, St. Martin, Anguilla, the BVI, Totola, and Anegada, the USVI, St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. How about the Kittitian and Nevisian diaspora all over the world, I should say, especially in Asia, Europe, Africa, and of course over there in North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I will say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. Straight Talk, for those of you joining me for the first time, it's a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. And let's, in the process, continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. I do apologize for the tardy start, my Straight Talk family, and I do apologize for Monday. We had some technical difficulties, and I do apologize for that, and we'll try and make up for tonight. I I have to apologize for my guest as well, who, because of our technical challenges, we are unable to host him again tonight, but he'll come at some other time. But tonight, my Straight Dog family, I will continue with, as I promised, to take a deeper dive into the $130 million bonus for Christophe Harbor. And of course, we look at our observations in review. The time when we do some reflection on the issues that we may have addressed in the past. We asked a few questions. We tried to establish what was accomplished, how it has helped others, and of course, what has changed since and what can be expected next. And of course, what new have we learned as a people. And our first observation, my Straight Dog family, it speaks to something we have been waiting for a long time, what we call Budget Day. And Budget Day, we understand, is next week, Wednesday, the 14th day of December, according to this release from the Cabinet Secretary
for presentation to the National
briefing.
And budgetary proposals for 2023, Cabinet approved the 2023 draft estimates, the Appropriation 2023 Bill, and the Appropriation 2023 Act. The annual budget debate will be held from Wednesday, December 14th, 2022.
Yes, the Budget Day, December the 14th. That's next week, Wednesday. When the people, we hope, will learn whether the country is really in the red or not. But the release from the Press Secretary's office today suggests otherwise, since Prime Minister Drew will make good, hopefully, on his promise to pay a CBI dividend. How much is the big question of this dividend? But the release reads, and I quote, "First ever CBI dividend to be distributed to citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis." And it reads, "The government of St. Kitts and Nevis has approved the payment of a citizenship by investment CBI dividend to its citizens and residents of the Federation. The CBI dividend is a share of the profits and retained earnings received from the Citizenship by Investment program. The CBI dividend will be facilitated through the St. Christopher and Nevis Social Security and will be distributed in two tiers or categories. The first category is the pensionable and pensioners, and the second category is classified as those who are not yet pensionable. Now, this is a new policy, it continues, implemented by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis as a commitment to the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew-led St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party administration's campaign pledge to the citizens and residents of the Federation. And that's very interesting. We see how much we will get for our dividends. Let's just keep waiting, my Straight Dog family. In the meantime, we commend Prime Minister Joe for keeping a campaign pledge. The other issue we want to address is the issue of climate change and how it has impacted our water supply in St. Kitts, primarily as a result of rising sea level, or rising sea levels, I should say, which has caused salt water intrusion in our aquifer well field. And you know, instead of addressing the issue head-on, Minister Maynard continues to gallivant, I should say, all over the world. And that brings no solution for the people in Bergerac, in Frigate Bay, in Cairn, in St. Peter's, and as a matter of fact, all around the island of St. Kitts and Nevis, for that matter. It brings no solution. Congress Maynard seems comfortable giving us lectures about climate change rather than finding water for the people, which is life. It's a public good. We need that. You've just heard he has now gone to the United Nations Water Summit at UNESCO in Paris to tell us what we already know. What he is telling us is what we know already. So find solutions. We are asking Congress Maynard, find solutions to the water problems. And there are solutions, so you better find them and find them soon.
Minister of Utilities, the Honorable Congress Maynard, has called on international agencies to do more to address the impact that climate change has had on the water supply of small island states like St. Kitts and Nevis. He was at the time making a presentation to the UN Water Summit on groundwater at UNESCO in Paris, which runs from the 7th to the 8th of December. In his presentation, Minister Maynard noted several climate change issues which have impacted the local water supply.
Higher temperatures and droughts, with a decrease in annual rainfall of nearly 20% over the last 10 years alone, leading to critical water shortages. While our new government is determined to restore 24-hour supply of water, certain topographical and infrastructural characteristics of small islands hamper our efforts in replenishment of fresh water, including small land mass with limited catchment basin.
And as I said, this minister is just gallivanting all over the world and giving us lectures at home and abroad. But many people think that climate change mainly means warmer temperatures. But temperature rise is only the beginning of the story, because the earth, it's a system where everything is connected. So changes in one area influence changes in all the other areas. The world, including St. Kitts and Nevis, already knows, and most have already experienced, the consequences of climate change that include, amongst others, intense droughts, water scarcity, severe fires, rising sea levels, flooding, melting polar ice, catastrophic storms. We now experience the 200-year cycle storm, winds up to 200 miles per hour, and declining biodiversity. And Congress Maynard has gone to beg international agencies to do more when our landmass is small, yes, and we have topographical challenges, but we are surrounded by the ocean. So there is an option. Many options have been advanced before. And if Congress Maynard reads the files and talk to his engineers in the Water Services Department, he will find the options and take action rather than going away or going around and begging all and saying also.
Desalination right now on the table for us here in St. Kitts as an option. Desalination, of course, is where you actually set up a plant usually close to the coastline, and you stick a pipe out in the ocean, you pull in the seawater, you run it through that plant, desalination plant, and out comes fresh potable water that you can drink, cook with, bathe with, etc. Marriott does it. I think Park Hyatt has one. We don't have a water problem in St. Kitts because the whole ocean is there. We could just desalinate. There is no shortage of water there.
I like how the engineer sculpted it. We don't have a water problem in St. Kitts. We are surrounded by the ocean. Stick a pipe and do your reverse osmosis or whatever the hell it is called. And as a matter of fact, way back in 2007 or 2008 or before, the same Labour administration that's now in office, it was the Douglas Labour, now we have the Jew Labour, procured a desalination plant with a capacity of a capacity of 2 million gallons per day, never commissioned, is still lying idle down there at the valley. But this is what labor is all about. And sad to say, we'll hear much more and we'll experience much more sadness about or with labor. Elections were held in Dominica on Tuesday, the 6th December, and the people have spoken. That's our next observation. The incumbent Democratic or Dominica Labour Party, I should say, won 19 of the 21 seats contested, with 2 opposition independent candidates winning the other 2 seats. This is how Prime Minister Roosevelt's carrot reacted to his 6th consecutive victory at the polls in Dominica.
I first want to extend congratulations to very good. I think it clearly shows that the elections were credible and they were free and fair, and that the voters of Dominica exercised the right to vote, and they voted for candidates of their choosing. And I also want to congratulate all of the candidates of the Dominica Labour Party, 19 out of the 21 who contested, and of course the 2 who unfortunately did not get the majority vote in these 2 constituencies. I accept this victory from the people of Dominica with the greatest sense of humility. This is an extraordinary confidence that the people have shown in us. And I want to say to people that the Labour Party did not facilitate anybody coming to Dominica to vote from overseas. Not one. We did not pay the ticket for one person to come to Dominica in these elections.
And that's interesting. Not one overseas voter went to Dominica. I hope and pray that someday we can say the same. Not one ticket was paid for any voter to go to Dominica. I pray that we will experience that one day. Instead of these investors paying all this money and now looking for things like what's happening now in St. Kitts in return. But meanwhile, Nevisians must make their decision on Monday, December the 12th. That's Monday coming. And I dare say, it's a serious one. A serious decision that will determine the future of that island. Mark Brantley, we know, has run Nevis broke. Mark Brantley has run Nevis broke from the time he took over the mantle from his predecessor, the late Vance Emery. Mark Brantley has run Nevis broke.
The expenditure budget for the upcoming fiscal year. We are prepared to project that we shall collect the amount of $131.4 million in recurrent revenue. We expect our recurrent revenue to be augmented by the remittance of at least $45 million from the federal government. The expenditure budget for the upcoming fiscal year is set at $229 million. We are prepared to project that we shall collect the amount of $131.4 million in recurrent revenue. We expect our recurrent revenue to be augmented by the remittance of at least $45 million from the federal government.
And you heard that. $229 million to be expended, and only $139 million to be collected. A $98 million deficit. And I've heard it's gotten worse in Nevis. God forbid if he wins again. Poor Nevis. Civil servants can't get their pay, the 5% they were promised. The day that he doesn't get that handout from St. Kitts, civil servants would be in trouble. Mark Brantley hires all these civil servants and he can't pay them.
I asked PS2, could you give me
pension and wages bill for the government of Nevis each month. And he sent it to me, $8,009,489.60. $8,009,489.60. That's how much Nevis has to find each month to satisfy its public servants and its pensioners. When you multiply that by 12, our wage bill alone is $96,113,875.20. Let's just round it off and let's say $96 million a year.
$96 million, and he gets 66 million from St. Kitts. So yes, his shortfall is $30 million. The man can't pay his civil servants. He fooled Nevisians about the international airline hub. You remember? But be careful. I said the decision you make, Nevisians, on Monday is a serious one, because he has plans. He has plans, I said. He has plans to lease or sell the Vance Amory International Airport to operate as a fixed base operations by the Russians. We are still in contact with our friends in America, our friends in Canada, and our friends in the United Kingdom. But he also lied about geothermal as well, and he was outed just last week.
From what I understand from the literature regarding that well, there may have been some issues. I won't speak to the specifics. I have some experts online who can speak better. But that well was not, as far as I know, drilled according to best practice or best standard. So what we're going to be doing is going to be much different. It's going to be according to international best practices, and we're going to make sure we have suitably qualified contractors. We first did an assessment of those wells on the site. The older one, because of its age and possible corrosion, may also have some challenges. What we have established is before we even start doing the larger production wells now, we have to do what is called plug and abandon. But it has to be done in a responsible manner, because that well is not, I think, was not done according to the standard that we desire. And so we are going to plug and abandon it.
Standards not met according to best practice. And all these legacy issues that go along or go hand in hand with development of the geothermal on Nevis, I challenge the authorities. Dr. Drew, you wrote some letter. You haven't told the country what is the content of that letter. But surely, Kittitians should not stay idly by or stand idly by, because there are two volcanoes. We are blessed with two volcanoes on St. Kitts, one on St. Kitts, one on Nevis. There is no justifiable reason why, when the majority of demand for electricity is 3 times or maybe 4 times as high on St. Kitts than Nevis, why on earth you should have to depend on that man called Mark Brantley and his irrational behavior to get energy for St. Kitts? That's crazy. Not only irrational, he's so arrogant. You remember what he said about Dr. Bartlett? This is what Douglas, or how Douglas described Mark Brantley.
Only USNs. Because there is no need for that kind of arrogance. He's the most intelligent person in the world. He's the most sensible person in the world. He is the richest parliamentarian in the world. is a glimpse of the nature of the member for Nevis. Arrogant, pompous, talking down to people, and that's not a good attitude for a politician. You need to change your attitude. You need to stop talking ill of people.
Yes, arrogant, talking ill of people, much less a woman. And the constituents over there should punish him for the way he described and talked down and looked down to Dr. Bartlett. Well, I am a Nevision born in St. Kitts. I cannot vote in Nevis, but I endorse this view 100%. I endorse this view.
Mark Brantley has to go. This Reformation Party. Otherwise, if we do not, it will be the end of Nevis, because Mark Brantley is a bad leader and a bad manager. He do not deserve another election, another victory in Nevis. He do not deserve it. Every project that CCM have started in Nevis, every one of them is unfinished at this present moment. And I'm telling you, every one of them going over budget. Every one of them, they've been going on for the last 5, 6 years. And not one of them has been completed. I don't even want to talk about our hospital. I don't even want to mention our hospital.
Nevisions, you go to the polls on Monday, and you must decide to rid Nevis of this terrible manager called Mark Brantley. He's no good for Nevis. He's good enough for himself. But my Straight Talk family, those are my observations in review for tonight. As I won't tarry much longer, and because I have to, we must, and I invite you to come with me and take that deeper dive into the $130 million bonus for Christophe Harbor. And that's my dissertation for tonight. And just in case you are pondering, a bonus is a reward. And what is or is happening is the country was taken aback when the news broke that this foreign company is being rewarded for non-performance. The news broke that the new management of the St. Kitts, Nevis and Anguilla National Bank has decided to engage Christophe Harbor upon their request. And our reliable sources have confirmed with Straight Talk that this may very well mean forgiving the debt of $130 million or even worse. Without forgiving the debt because of the public outcry, the bank, it seems, is now considering lending Christophe Harbor more money, even though it has not paid 1 cent for nigh 10 years. And now they have accumulated some US $22 million plus interest owing to the bank. Christophe Harbor also owes the SIDF, meaning the government as well, another $16 million plus interest for almost the same period. So it is rather interesting to note that the new management of the St. Kitts, Nevis and Anguilla National Bank now includes Managing Director Terence Crosman, who, as a matter of fact, was the Chief Executive Officer at the Sugar Industry Diversification Fund, the SIDF, in 2013 and executed the advance of the US $16 million to Christophe Harbor. He signed some of the agreements as well. And this brings to the fore more questions, my straight dog family, than answers. We have also confirmed what is CH, what is Christophe Harbor. And what is Christophe Harbor? It was told by the executive vice president.
Christophe Harbor is 2,500 acres of land. We've got 13 miles of shoreline with the property, 6 beaches, of which I would argue that at least 3 of the 6 beaches are in the top 10 beaches in the Caribbean, which I think says a lot about the natural beauty.
And yes, 2,500 acres of land, 13 miles of shoreline, 6 beaches, of which 3 of them, according to Phil Kebb, are in the top 10 beaches in the Caribbean. Now, this discussion tonight, as we dig deeper, is about the 2 loans that have not been paid by Christophe Harbor. And I have the agreements. It is as simple as that. And I must say from the onset that I am not dealing with second-hand information, as I, Ian Patches Liburd, participated. I took part in meetings at the Dominica room of the Marriott some years ago. The Prime Minister did not bring Mark Brantley to the meeting. He did not bring Sean Richards. He did not bring Lindsey Grant to the meeting. The Prime Minister took me. I sat between Buddy Darby and his son. The meeting was quite cordial, and I saw all the documents. So nobody told me. I read the documents. The SIDF loan agreement for US $16 million or $43 million EC was unsecured. No security was put up. And I heard Douglas said this. Douglas made this confession some time ago, my straight dog family. And as we say, we find and we present the facts. This is what Douglas said to the country some years ago.
The investors and developers, but we wanted development. The cabinet, with me as the chairman of the cabinet, took the decision to invest for our advancement and invested it in the Christophe Harbor so that that experiment of development can continue. Investors and developers in the Christophe Harbor had internal problems, but we wanted development. The cabinet, with me as the chairman of the cabinet, took the decision to invest for our advancement and invested it in the Christophe Harbor so that that experiment of development can continue.
And that's Denzel Douglas. And if Douglas be honest, the SIDF paid US $300. Yes, listen to me. The SIDF paid US $300 to get 30% of one of the companies of that company that owns the land. Sounds like a mix-up, eh? Yes, they have a lot of companies. SIDF paid $300 US to one of those companies and got 30% of the company that owns the company that owns the land. And that is what Douglas tried to fool the country about investment. But there is an SIDF loan agreement of US $16 million, 43 million EC dollars, as I said, it was unsecured. The National Bank loan for US $16 million of $43 million was secured with 400, beg your pardon, and 33 acres of land, which to date has not been paid. So with accumulated interest, it stands at US $22 million, just over $60 million. Now, the Harris Team Unity Administration was approached by Christophe Harbor with the view towards requesting that the administration encourages the bank to resolve the loan issue. I was there. I sat next to Buddy. He said Christophe Harbor could not pay its creditors. It could not even pay its staff. Christophe Harbor first requested US $6 million and offered to surrender 30 acres of land on the hillside of the Atlantic, which was agreed in principle at first. But when we found out the quality of the land on the Atlantic side, no infrastructure, we said no. An alternative, or rather two alternatives were found, one of which was fair. Well, if Christophe Harbor cannot pay back the loan, then give back some of the land of within the 80 or 842 acres, which they got for US $17 million. Did you hear me? They got 842 acres for US $17 million. And we said, then give back some of that. 275 acres were identified very close to the Park Hyatt Hotel. Christophe Harbor then agreed to give up that parcel of land, but wanted US $12 million to put them back on their feet, so to speak. Remember I said they couldn't pay the creditors. So they agreed to give up the 275 acres, beg your pardon, but wanted an additional $12 million to put them back on their feet. I can see Buddy right now, sitting right next to me. The agreement was made in principle for Christophe Harbor to first sign the memorandum of transfer that was prepared days after, but they refused to sign. But fast forward, the government has now changed, but it is simple. If the Jew administration do not want Christophe Harbor to pay, then take back some of the land. Take back some of the land if you don't want them to pay. As a matter of fact, the development agreement stated, it stated that it would bring investment money and generate US $17 billion in 20 years. 15 of those years have already gone. What revenue has been generated? Look at the concessions. Exemption from alien land holdings, 10% fees. Was it granted? I don't know. Exemption from stamp duty, mortgages placed on project property, sale of property by developer or developer subsidiaries, transfer of shares of developer or developer subsidiaries. Were they granted? I don't know. 15-year corporate tax holiday or longer for developer shares, developer shareholders, beg your pardon, developer investors, and developer subsidies. These are some of the concessions, and the list goes on. Exemption from all duties, VAT, custom service charge, and consumption taxes for building materials, furniture and equipment, construction equipment and tools, model units, spare parts, generators, air condition units, maintenance equipment tools, and the list goes on. Exemption from import duty, VAT, and custom service charge on one SUV and one pickup truck for use during the construction phase of the project. And the list goes on. So they got concessions as well. Now, my people, National Bank belongs to the shareholders. Whether you have 1, 10, or 100 shares, we are all owners of the bank. And I say, for the board to proceed with this in a manner in which they are heading is an affront to every single shareholder. The government is answerable to the electorate. Yes, you may say, and government changed, and government still has 51% of the shares in the St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla National Bank. But it has 100% of the board. Yes, but the people who make decisions are supposed to act, those people on the board. We expect you to act in the best interest of the public rather than for yourselves or your political party. How could you in his right mind stop $500 for 7,000 poor Kittitians and divisions, pretending that he will make the PAP better, but want to let off Christophe Harbor with $60 million US over $130 million EC. A poor man can get a loan to build a house, and the house is his security, or the bank's security. He fails to pay, and many have failed to pay because they've bumped into hard times. And what has happened? The National Bank has sold the poor man's house. So why is the Joe administration making it easy for Christophe Harbor while squeezing the poor people on PAP? We must not sit back and allow that to happen. I have documents. I was there. But he won't dare to challenge me as I was sitting next to him. How could they get all this money and still all this land? Even if they do not want to collect the loan, then take some land. There is no land in Frigate Bay. Then the land over on the southeast peninsula can be our next Frigate Bay. Right now the government subsidizes the cost of the wages and other expenses and expenditure for the Frigate Bay Development Corporation. Then the land over there on the southeast peninsula, the land that Christophe Harbor owns and won't pay their debt, take back some. Let us make a new Frigate Bay as we did in the 1970s. Get it well designed, keeping abreast with the environment and all that's in the area. And yes, I would say, as I close, the country needs investment. But how can we ensure that better decisions are made in the future that will indemnify, that will protect the St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla National Bank, and by extension the people of this country, its shareholders, from a financial quagmire like the one we are addressing now? We say, hell no. to this $130 million bonus for Christophe Harbor. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I am going to open the lines. I'm going to open the lines and entertain your calls. I'll entertain your emails for those who like the cloak of anonymity. I always like to implore you, nonetheless, to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us in the process try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in saying and doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm going to go to the lines, my Street Dog family. The numbers again are 663-6672 and or 646-829-6672. Do not be afraid to weigh in. Do not be afraid to speak your mind. It is our patrimony, our land. No matter what you say, it was our money. The $16 million US from the SIDF is our money. It's the people's money. If we are not going to get it back, then get back some land. It's our land. Douglas went to the parliament and he acquired 852 acres of land. He then sold it for $17 million. And we are saying we want back our land. It is 8:55. Let us go to the lines. A caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Pleasant good evening, Mr. Leiber.
Yes, good evening, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm not doing too bad for my age. And good evening to the listeners home and abroad. Carl Brown here. Mr. Leiber, this investment with Christophe Harbor, it is a very, very, very serious, it is a most damaging and crushing issue to every citizen in St. Kitts Nevis.
It should be. It's vexing.
Eh?
It's vexing.
Yes. Well, I call it a crushing.
Crushing, that right?
And,
Yeah, I take your word. Crushing.
Yeah, I call it a crushing, and I call it a devastation and a disaster to the people of St. Kitts Nevis. And as I always say on this talk show, and I will never, ever believe in foreign investment. I don't like it, Mr. Leiber. We get too much hurt, pain, agony, distress, and discomfort from foreign investment in this that come to this country.
Are you there? Are you there, caller? Okay, I seem to have lost that caller. Let's see if this other caller is holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Thank you for holding. You're live.
Caught up in the name of our great African ancestors, especially Queen Nzinga and King Garvey. Blessed evening, my beloved African brother. How are you, the family? What's up, beloved?
Peaceful, my brother. What about you and your family?
Good, man. Good. I'm good, brother. And the clan is good, man.
Good to hear.
No, beloved, brother, what you just outline. I even spoke to it today on ZIZ and Frank and Candid, brother. This cannot, let me repeat, cannot allow to happen. Brother Patches, like you said, you want to take away you take $500 from financially poor African people. $500. $500 can't even fill up a brown shopping bag nowadays, but the patches. Cannot. People for the mortgages, the house that the mortgage that they have with with the so-called government. It's not the government, taxpayers, brother. The government is the people. But and when you don't pay, bank come after you and sell your house, brother. Sell poor people houses. And you want to tell me that treasonous thing with Christophe Harbor, brother. You're going to give those people all of our lands again? Brother, the bank and this evil empire should never allow to do that. Brother, and there must be demonstration, beloved. Not no violence. Must demonstrate against this evil, brother Patches. It is not right. And anyone who partake in that is an evil person. And we know the evil empire, led by the boy from Monkey Hill, brother. But this is so. What that not going to be there? That the type of lands, brother, going to be there for our people. What I mean? This apartheid all over again. That all these certain people or certain ilk are for pristine lands. What happened to our people who shed blood, sweat, and ancestry, shed blood, sweat, and tears for centuries? What the patches? Wow. Come on, man. You all people look like you. I keep saying, brother Patches, and you know I've been saying this for years. This evil empire, none of them love poor people. And you know what's so heart-wrenching, brother Patches? Most of these guys and girls come from financially poor people. And look what they are doing to people who look like them, brother. Brother Harris, when he was Prime Minister, I mean, he has his fault just like all of us. He makes sure that African people be okay. I mean, a lot more should have been done, but he didn't get the chance, beloved. He was only 7 years, beloved. And he did a lot of good for financially poor African people. These guys ain't even there, and even the August, yeah, this is the 5th month, let's say, yeah, 12th month, yes, not even 6 months. Look at the speed they're going up and down the place, to reward the podium, beloved brother, and the backs, mostly poor African people, and you cannot get $500. Brother, it's a shame and a disgrace. And our people rise up, demonstrate, and make sure this ain't happen, man. Even if you got to demonstrate on so-called Church Street, and wherever the bank is located, no, beloved, that must be done. Brother, thanks again for hearing me. Keep up the grades, and my young sisters and brothers. Don't study, don't let them distract you with parties and this. I mean, our people are festive people, but economics is what counts. Good health and economics, and everybody can come from Europe, Asia, wherever, and benefit, man. And our people, our ancestors shed blood and tears for centuries, and we just getting crumbs, brother. Those days should have been long gone and over, brother. So young sisters and brothers, it's your time to shine and ensure, along with the elders, that this evil deal don't go to you. Brother Patches, thanks again for hearing me. Keep up the great work. Pan-Africanism our purse. One love, my beloved brother.
One love, my brother. Thanks as usual for your commentary. Yes, my straight dog family. The lines are open. I don't know what happened to that local line just now. It dropped out, but that local line, that local number is 663-6672. If the bank, with the instructions of the Minister of Finance, is the lead or the focal point for the bank, Prime Minister Drew, if you don't want to collect the loan, then take some land. Take some land. Let's just get another Frigate Bay. Frigate Bay is sold out. Bradshaw acquired Frigate Bay somewhere in the 70s, I believe. It's early 70s. I stand to be corrected. And Bradshaw had an idea, a wonderful concept, and that's what has translated into Frigate Bay today. So we can have a new Frigate Bay, a better Frigate Bay, a next Frigate Bay over on the peninsula, because then there's no more land for local people at Frigate Bay. So let's get some land over there on the peninsula. Let's go down. Let's go down close to the Park Hyatt. Get away from those gated areas. That's the ordinary man get some land on the southeast peninsula. The numbers again, 663-6672. That's our local number. And or 646-829-6672. I noticed my local line is dropping out. But my straight dog family, in the event you have just joined us, we are saying to you, my people, that we are saying that we are not accepting anything less than. Christophe Harbor has failed to deliver on its commitments, many commitments, and we are saying then we are not going to stand idly by as a people and allow you to do as he likes. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. It's 5 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. What's on your mind?
Okay, good evening, Dr. Ian Patches. How are you?
Your humble servant is peaceful, my brother. Yourself, Mr. Culture?
Okay, well, your radical culture friend is humble too, just like you.
Good to hear you.
Yeah, everything is good in Moussat and everything is good in St. Kitts and Nevis.
The volcano going good. I haven't heard my friend for a long time.
Well, what we going to do? Sorry, go ahead.
I hail my brother, former Minister Lewis as well, Paul. I haven't heard from him for a long time. Hope, I should say, that all my friends in Montserrat are doing well. What's on your mind?
Yeah, what we plan to do with Montserrat volcano? We're going to set up a geothermal for Montserrat volcano to sink it too.
We're doing some geothermal development there already, but yeah, we'll see if we get some underground connections, because we can't trust that guy in Nevis. I can't trust him. I don't know if you can.
Oh, no. I'm coming here to that now. But thank you for the very good information that you lay out tonight. And before I go too far, Brother Nabu, welcome. Thank you, Brother Nabu. Every time you open your mouth, I supported you. And I'm saying good night to all who does call in and all who used to call in. I'm afraid to call in because they're afraid of this, afraid of that. This is not time to afraid people. Respect your conscience. Let your conscience be a guide, not man. Because the heart of man is desperately wicked above all things. So if you're afraid, man, hey, you will suffer. That is last week, brother. Not last week, this week, Monday. A lot of persons, we got disappointed with the little technical thing that we didn't get to hear, Brother Ross. But anyway, like you said, some other time. Oh, last night, I do not know what to do somebody, but I hear them calling your name, saying that you want to bring down Mark Brantley. And Mark Brantley is a decent man. Well, they forget they wanted to bring down Dr. Harris and they were pushing a baba around town with big stone in it. You know who the person is. But anyway, them they eat like Nabo. Them they what talking about. This thing over Christophe Harbor. What do you mean to tell me now? I went to school when I was presented with the slate in school and I show you right and slate to patches.
Of course, yeah.
What they used to do on the slate, they used to mark sums, SUMS, and then they move up to arithmetic. And then modernly when we went to high school, they say maths. Well, I don't know which is it, whether the $500 is more than the 100 and something, $130 something million that Christophe Harbor been getting away with. Which one is more? The sums, the $500 more, or the money from the bank for Christophe Harbor? Because how in the world any living creature could look on poor people, and especially people like me and you color patches who are suffering. Thank God for another black man, a black leader, Dr. Timothy Harris, who had the vision to see that poor people need help, and he gonna help them in that way until better could have been done. And you can say no, stop that $500. They're not supposed to be getting that. But you ain't gone, he ain't gone over, Joe ain't gone over Southeast Peninsula or whatever. We're going to tell them pay up what they owe. Pay the money up because the country can't afford to let that go down the drain. And because they get the money to borrow from the bank, remember everybody had to go barber shop, church, all kind of organization go take a haircut. All kind of foolishness. Joe has a Hitler. Hitler once said, if you want to conquer everybody, don't try it one time. Do it step by step. And that is what he's doing. Look what he gonna need to do. He gonna need to make the money, the draw, full of money. And they start racing it up, going New York, 15 of them. Come back down. And then they went Taiwan. And then they gone Barbados and all over the place and Congress. Why he got to worry to talk solution to get water in this country? Why? Should them just gone need to raise up the money that Dr. Harris put there, and when he come around talking about country in red, where the country in red stay home because no money there to buy the ticket to run away. But you see, them they get in there because of fake politics, and they're bringing people in this country to vote, which should have never been. You ain't live here. Yes, we respect that you're from here. Yes. But if you want to come here, come vote, pay your own money, and come here, come live more than 6 months. That is, I got more to say, but I'll come back.
Thanks a lot for your
contribution.
As usual, we go straight back to the lines at 11 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, straight up.
How are you tonight?
It's a meeting for you because tonight can be your last, no?
Tonight is going to be your last?
No, to come on and be here, you know. Like the close after this, I mean, if you close after.
Oh, I don't know.
Straight? Okay.
No. Straight dog will be on next week.
Yes, the culture of Sally, Crystal, but the money there, no. They need to wipe off that. I mean, they could wipe off my house then. My house say only a couple $1,000. If they're going to wipe off, they might as well at me age, they could wipe off the house for me. Because I want to know, how money give away? We went up. Me say nobody must give help for Mr. Patrick. Listen me go. Yes, it was paying a blow pink and Vincent last year. $1 million we give them on a one. I think they could have given them right? When you look, we don't give them somebody that time again, you know? And now what happened? We give away. We name Father Christmas come every day first, no? Yeah, why really calling? Forget about that. Why calling to say? Mr. Patrick, I'm having an asphalt here. I drove on a road Sunday and I didn't like the circulation. No, what I hear in that this person don't do it good, rock and don't do it good when you look. So somebody the party will just go in now and give it up. What kind of silliness that? We need to come from them all kind of thing there and leave the money. So what does money from parents to put on my asphalt on that?
I missed you somewhat just now. You're referring to the old road bay?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
well,
it's still under warranty, you know, and so that is the contractor's cost. So it has nothing to do. In fairness to the government, it shouldn't be the government cost, you know.
It was more than somebody said I'm digging up say something and
apparently it was sinking. Apparently the material, the base material was not what was required or recommended. Yeah.
Someone who was doing it before they got asphalt and we the new government now you want to buy it up from them and we want to finish it. That ain't right or nothing. That's the country belongs to all. This divided and separated. Ain't no good enough. We need to sell our brother keeper. Right? And if it's say God, I didn't like to hear the part at all.
Okay.
But with Christophe Harbor thing, no.
Yes, that's
the they just sell land for so much.
Yes.
I can't pay up them with that. And that time right time we're gonna go take out all the money out to National Bank to lend them. I mean sorry not lend them wiping the car. What happened to this country? I wipe off my took how many or 300,000. So they go wipe me off too.
Okay, thanks.
Because I'm a woman. Huh?
I'll give you 10 more seconds to wrap, please.
Yeah, man, we need to come better than that.
Yeah.
If I have to think about anything else, I will call back in. But no. We need to come better. Now, everybody talk about that, and that's the topic every day.
No, we can't.
We're going stupid all the time, Margo. There's sensible people going there who went Oxford, and they went, we are now going to college, and this is what we get in. But me is a grassroots woman and me won't even do them things to you.
Okay.
You know, which in the same standard and me won't think about what happened is a love with friendly thing over. The country belongs to all of it, not friendly nothing.
Okay.
And they need to work on the price then because we know what's going on.
Okay.
Let us just know what I'm going to cost nearly $17.
Okay, thanks a lot for your... Thanks
it looks like you had to go out there and let you through here for Christmas.
Okay. Thanks a lot for your contribution. That's the cost of living. Yes. And we must send a message to the new managing director of the St. Kitts, Nevis and Anguilla National Bank, Terence Crosman, who, as a matter of fact, was the CEO at the SIDF in 2013 when that $16 million loan, it was no grant, it was a loan that was executed. We are not going to accept any hanky-panky from you, Terence Crosman. You know what's going on. We're not going to forgive that debt. If they need more money, we must get more land. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding. You're live. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
It depends on who. Is this calling me?
Yes, you are live. That sounds like, yes. That sounds like my guest who should have been. Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
You are live. The whole world is listening to you, sir.
Okay, Patches, the first thing is, how come you circumvented me tonight?
What are you talking about?
Wasn't I supposed to be on with you tonight?
But we spoke before the show. I told her what transpired tonight. So what are you talking about? If you want to make a contribution,
okay, fine.
Go ahead, make your contribution.
Yeah, okay, Patrick, it's important that I make a contribution.
Please,
and I'm going to tell you why.
And you can, as I said to you earlier, please, as I said to you earlier, right? We can come back with your show once the technical issues are sorted out. Okay? But go ahead.
Okay, fine.
Right.
Okay, fine. Well, okay, that having been said, I will tell you, it is not a difficult matter to resolve all of these claims of the borrowers with respect to Christophe Harbor and at the same time satisfy the requirements of this country. It is just a matter of restructuring. And if it is that people come and they borrow your money and they make commitments on what they're going to do within the first 20 years, and against all of those commitments, you give them very, very lavish concessions, and then they can't perform. Now, you don't want to go ahead and drive them underground or destroy them, but at the same time, you can't have them destroy you. And to the same way that any big company can be restructured, all it takes is some initiative, some thinking. Get these people to the table, find out what they want, and structure the refinancing so that it substantially benefits the people in the state. I am not a part of any of those discussions, but I can tell you, had I been, I would start by saying, fine, you're now in a jam. We are going to reverse that grant of the seabed. And we're going to turn it from a grant of sale back into a seabed lease. And perhaps even incorporate a second company so that all of those slips that are going to be leased long term will never ever not be owned by the state. I've seen it in North America. You go onto the Lake of the Woods. There's the Lake of the Woods Control Board. And there are a number of First Nations that I represented up there. The land was never for sale. Long-term lease, okay, good business arrangement. So it does not have to be a seller. But that's all I'm going to leave you with tonight, Patches, until we get the technical issues resolved, and then we're going to go for that deeper dive.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Tony. Yes, I can assure you that we'll take that deeper dive and look at the other issues. As you just mentioned one there, the seabed giveaway, I call it, but we'll take that deeper dive. Thanks for your input. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. It's 9:21.
Mr. Lyra?
Yes, sir. You just...
Yeah, the line seems to be giving trouble, the local line.
Okay, you seem to drop out there.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a radio or something on your background or equipment?
Okay.
Please, yeah.
No, that is our vehicle passing.
Yeah, okay. Okay, go ahead, Captain.
Mr. Lyra, in no way we are going to stand by and sit back and watch the bank, the government, all the parties involved, and give Christophe Harbor any debt forgiveness. No way, no how. Christophe Harbor got one choice, is to give back some of the best lands over there, some of the best beaches for our money that they have and would not pay. And listen, let me tell you, Christophe Harbor is lying that they cannot pay. They have been selling the lands them over there for 20 times and 30 times the amount that they bought it for. So what are they doing with all those millions of dollars of land that they have sold? That's the question we need to ask. Where is the millions of dollars
that they have collected in sales of land over there. Where is that money? Why is it that we have not received back 1 cent of our money that they borrowed? These are questions we need to ask, and it's nowhere we are going to stand by and watch any bank or any government give Christophe Harbor a debt forgiveness. They came here, they was on many programs. They tell us a lot of lies. I keep saying it when they were talking, you know. I call in on many shows, people could go back in the archives, you know. And I said, these people are lying. They're not going to come up with all of these jobs and all of these things that they say they're going to build over there. My words come to pass. So, the government and the bank need to sit down, have a very serious meeting, and decide how they are going to get back our money, how they are going to get back our land. And then they are to approach Christophe Harbor and let Christophe Harbor know, listen, you came here, you took our money, you took our land. You made a commitment that you will do this and that. You did not do none of the above. So this is how it's going to go. You can't say we take X amount of land.
Okay.
It's simple.
Yes, very simple. Thanks a lot for your thanks a lot for your contribution. And yes, very simple. You can't have our money and still want our land. And for the caller before that, Mr. Ross, we in fact had many discussions. In fact, a mortgage transfer agreement was prepared to get back some 275 acres of land over on Christophe Harbor and still advance them $12 million to put them on their feet. But let's just be clear as well. The National Bank belongs to the shareholders. Let's go back to the lines. I'll get back to that. Call you live. Hello,
good night to Professor. Good night to Professor Ian Patches Liber. Good night.
Your humble sound. That sounds like a voice, a familiar voice. Is this Mr. Politics?
Yes.
Good to hear you, my brother. Good to hear you.
Oh, you're a professor, man. You can teach in a university.
I'm humbled, my brother. I'm humbled.
That is first, you know, I always want to thank God for life. Thank God for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, a country we are born into and live into up to now. Thank God for a mother and a father like mine. I believe that start us well, and they are doing good things to the children. Although back in the time, the struggle was on, we was poor, and we got to make it somehow. With 14 children, they make it. And I am one of the 14. She had twin twice, and he had twin twice.
Wow.
So, Patches, my little input tonight. You know, back in 2015, 2014, we rallied for a unity government because of the situation. And I am one of the warriors who was on the front line, doing whatever we can do to get the unity government and to get out the campment where was there because what was happening. And you know how we fought. We even got to go to England. But it's a lose night rest. Sometimes I got to study what I must call in, say. And Patches, these men deceive us. They deceive us. So Patches, that's why I say that I eat up the politics so long until whenever the government in, I just watching what's going on. If the government do well, I go say they do well. You understand? This is our country, and any government elect, we got the right to criticize, and we got the right to praise if they're doing well. Patches. So, Patches, I'm not much up in the politics because I know what happened to me after election, with some people try to attack me and give me all kind of evil thing and even try to destroy me animals. Then I just take it easy. I don't even went to the police, nothing check, they check me and all kind of thing, I think. But I just take it easy. But Patrick, I just want to call on my brothers and sisters in Nevis to stop, look and listen and take heed. Mark Brantley, the premier right now, ain't good for them. He ain't no good for Nevis people. If he could destroy 3 political parties who come together to form unity, what else he will do to the Nevis people? I just calling on the people of Nevis. Calling on them. My family, my brothers, my sisters, I got nephew, nieces up there. I calling on them to get rid of Mark Brantley and the system. They're not good for Nevis. Look how they mash up a unity. What's going on? You see, personally say that's the best Nevis ever achieved under unity administration. And praise the former leader, Dr. Harris, how he reach out to Nevis. So I do not believe the people of Nevis can be so foolish to let that Mark Brantley with the load of love and the load of deceitfulness where that to the people and no manners to the respect to the lady. Who talk about she only put it to animals. He was in a place. And he got to put in a place by the F. Can't to the lady, use the finger. Nevis people use the finger. Patches are wonderful night. God bless the Federation and sing. You better not have a good night. Culture, good night. And Arthur and Alice. Good night. Mr. Politics still here. But Mr. Politics ain't in the politics like before. Until whenever I see things go wrong. If things go wrong in my country, speak out against it. But the people in the government, and right now we got to let the government work and see what they got for up to the ordinary man and woman in the Federation. That is our wonderful night. May God bless.
Have a wonderful night as well. May God bless you, my dear brother. Politics, and one can understand your position. But I want us to be aware of the fact, one fact, that the government is answerable to the electorate. The government is the people. And the government has some 51% of the shares in the St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla National Bank, but controls 100%. The composition of the board, it has 100% membership on the board. And those people on this board who make decisions are expected, we expect them to make those decisions in the best interest of the public rather than in the best interest of your political party or the party you defend. But let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Patrick, good night.
Good night, my dear brother. How art thou?
But I'm fine. I'm wonderful. You want to know about forget me? Well, I give you the piece.
You want a new one?
I did. That's a little taste. Mr. Patrick, is your forget me right now? Forget me was in a cabs out of 68. Oh, they was in, you can walk and forget me. So they get took up with Casa. I did a walk out of 25 years. So I could tell about forget me. Now, that is the reason why I'm being telling you all the time. I am one of the person that know what is the mean of looking after poor people. You see, I can tell you something, Mr. Patrick. When God looked down and see his eye to and fro beholding the good and the bad. And when the poor people cry out, that is, we only have to cry out to God and talk to God what we are going through. And he tell you, this poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and delivered him from out of all his troubles. Mr. Pattins, I want to tell you tonight, stand fast in the liberty where Christ had made you free, and be not again tangled again with the yoke of bondage. That is, God called you to do a job, and God is going to give you grace to do the job. And so, I am going to tell you, the sack what I put on 20 sacks, and they are working well, Mr. Pattins. Thank you greatly, and may the good Lord bless you and keep you in all your endeavor, and may the grace of God upon you, and God will overshadow you every morning you get up, strengthen you, and give you grace to go through. Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Have a pleasant night.
Have a pleasant night as well, my dear brother, and you take care of yourself and be good. Trust that you will remain healthy as well. It's now 26 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. My Stray Dog family, in the event, beg your pardon, you have just joined us, we are taking a deep dive into the Christophe Harbor $130 million bonus. And we are saying to Prime Minister Drew, we are asking you rather, what kind of heart do you have that you you have already stopped the $500 payment for many, many poor petitions? And really, there's no program that's foolproof. People always try to beat the system. But if 100 people beat the system, or 200 people for that matter beat the system, how can you make 5,200 people suffer? If 200 people beat the system, then weed them out. But to tell me that you are in a right mind to stop the $500 payment for 7,000 poor petitions on the PAP, pretending that you're going to make it better, but you're planning, conniving to let off Christophe Harbor with over $130 million. A poor man get a loan to build a house. The bank uses the house as its security. He or she bumps into hard times and the bank sells the poor man's house. So why is the Drew administration making it easy for Christophe Harbor and squeezing the poor man on the PAP, or poor woman, or poor people on PAP? We must not sit back and allow that to happen. I was there. I took part in the meetings. I sat right next to Dub Buddy. He won't dare to challenge me. We know what transpired. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your line.
Okay. This is me last do. Thank you for taking me in. First of all, let me welcome back politics. Politics, that was supposed to be a brave soldier. Do not be fearful of the man. Man can't do your heart nothing. They could destroy your material, but they can't harm you. So thank you for coming back, come help me and Nabu and all of us with us calling. And I want to give Dr. Douglas his kudos for what he said about Mark Brantley. Because like Dr. Douglas told, anyhow you trespass too close to the heart and the conscience, he ain't going to take it, so he can let you have it. And I'm glad for that clip that you play, what he said about Mark Brantley. And if you could play it back again before you close your night, we will be happy to hear that. And Mr. Ross, thank you for coming in, but I don't know how the young patches who want to dive the deepest, but I know the two are your good swimmers. Because you are a great man, and you are very experienced in life and what went on in this country and what should be going on. Now, this thing here with Mr. Joe. Mr. Joe, he has the heart of Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler never liked black people, and he tried to destroy black people in any way. And look at Dr. Joe. From the time he said he is Prime Minister, whenever he goes swear in, you see how he sit down in the chair, look at an emperor like he's Haile Selassie. He sit down different to everybody else, boasting and bragging. And then he move over to Monkey Hill. Monkey Hill people ain't good enough now for him. The people them who are surrounding him and giving him advice, what to do and what not. He gone from them. He don't want to be near them. So he gone up Jones in the big house up there. That means no poor people must come up there. Because I think up there it's gated community. So people look at it. Look at it, please. Now let me go to Nevis politics, because Nevis is part of us. Do not vote for Mark Brantley. Do not. He's a dangerous man. He's a tutong man. You see what everybody see what Mr. Emery get about the chair? Not because Mr. Emery is tired or fed up. He might have been fed up, yes, of the backstabbing that he will get in from the next man underneath him. So that's why Mr. Emery get up. And you see Mr. Emery?
Okay.
He stick very close to Dr. Harris because he see decency and concern for the people of the nation of St. Kitts and Nevis in Mr. Harris. And here now Mr. Mark Brantley, here he got a lot of word to be with and throw and talk about patches this and patches and all kind of thing, but patches couldn't hold this job and hold the job. We're hearing a hold the job. So I'm calling on the people of Nevis, do not forget, do not vote for him. Otherwise, if I vote to put back in there, the first thing he can do, patches, he can say, okay, I win them, let me go and hug up tighter with Dr. Joe. So Nevis now going to be run by pure labor, which threaten to give Nevis people bone in the rice and pepper in the soup, and who bounce the check. Bounce the check and try to embarrass Mr. Emery and the people of Nevis. And Mark Brantley was there. And now he come in going on like that never happened. And come back now eating a few words. About Dr. Joe is seen about Nevis. All of a sudden, what happened to the fair share?
Okay.
Fair share was to block up the government. So he get the fair share now, so he stop talk about it. But Nevis people, please do not be stupid. Patches, time going. I'll see you next week, okay?
Thank you. Have yourself.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Dr. Douglas, good night. Views them up.
Okay. I've heard a lot about what Mark Brantley said, and I don't want to really give him any credence, because all Mark Brantley has done, and the divisions have to be ultra careful in terms of the decision they're going to make on Monday. Because Mark Brantley has run Nevis broke. He has put Nevis into debt over a $500 million in the short space of time he's there. But Mark Brantley examined my resume, because I was happy to lead the infrastructure development in this country you will never see ever again in life. First and only time you'll see it. Construction of the Island Main Road. Building resilience at the Old Road Bay. Old Road Bay will never be the same again. No rock will ever fall on any car and kill anyone again. The traffic lights, improving the traffic management around Basseterre. Resurfacing of the island of the RLB International Airport runway. You brought the letter suggesting that the airport should close down. You forgot that, Mark Brantley. You brought the letter from ECHA, but you weren't aware that only the operator can send out a NOTAM. When you said that we must suspend all-night landings, Mark Brantley. You are no good for St. Kitts. Worse yet, you are no good for Nevis. And we resurfaced the runway, repaired all 3 taxiways, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, and the Western Apron. We did not get to finish the main apron, but the arrangements were made, the loans were in place to do that. The eastern side, West Bus Terminal, East Bus Line Terminal, the ferry terminal at Basseterre. When the folks are going to Nevis, they relax in air-conditioned comfort. And look at the new cruise pier, which you did not support in cabinet, Mark Brantley. 2 ships alongside today, 4 ships in port today. Unlike you, Mark Brantley, I finished my projects and they will last a lifetime. That's my resume. I don't like to talk about myself. What can you say about Mark Brantley? Unfinished projects. Divisions, beware. I drove down to Long Point a few weeks ago and I saw something look like a development. Then I realized it was his Mondo track. Not even a shelter there on the Mondo track. If rain comes down, everybody gets wet. That's what you do for Nevis, Mark Brantley? No. But tonight's not for you. Tonight's not for you. Monday, I hope and pray that the people will deal with you. The discussion tonight, so we're not going to digress, but so that as someone just raised it, I had to respond. The discussion tonight, if you just join me, my people, is about the 2 loans. 2 loans that have not been paid by Christophe Harbor. It is as simple as that. And as I said from the onset, I am not dealing with second-hand information. I took part in the meetings when Buddy Darby requested the assistance of the Prime Minister and his government, then Prime Minister Harris, to encourage the bank to consider his loan, as his cash flow was terrible. He had no cash flow. The Prime Minister took me. I sat between Buddy and his son, amongst others. The meeting was quite cordial. I saw all the documents. I read them. Nobody told me about them. The SIDF loan for US $60 million was unsecured. There was no security put up. This talk about SIDF and investment is nothing but a distraction. When Douglas said this, Douglas ought to be honest. He was honest in some part when he said this.
Internal problems, but we wanted development. The cabinet, with me as the chairman of the cabinet, took the decision to invest for our advancement and invested it in the Christophe Harbor so that that experiment of development can continue.
$16 million as a bailout. But investment, I want to make it very clear again. And Douglas ought to be honest. The SIDF paid US $300 to get 30% of one of the companies of the company that owns all the land. And that is what Douglas tried to fool the country about investment. There is an SIDF loan agreement, no investment, for $43 million. As I said, it was unsecured. There's a National Bank loan for $43 million as well. That was secured with 433 acres of land, thank God. And to date, it has not been paid and has accumulated interest and stands at US $22 million, just over $60 million. The Harris administration was approached with the view towards encouraging the bank to resolve the loan issue. As Christophe Harbor could not pay its creditors, it could not even pay its staff. Christophe Harbor requested $6 million and offered to surrender 30 acres of land. Terrible land on the hillside just from Sandybank towards the Atlantic side. No infrastructure whatsoever. An alternative was found, which was fair. And we said, well, if Christophe Harbor can't pay back the loan, then give up some of the land. Give back some of the land consisting of 842 acres that they spent just US $17 million on. $17 million. They got another 300 acres for $12 million. $12 million. And you've heard what they're selling land for. 1.3 acres at $6.9 million US dollars. 1.3 acres. And they got 842 acres for $17 million. Christophe Harbor agreed to give up the parcel of 275 acres that were identified very close to the Park Hyatt Hotel. They wanted $12 million to put them back on their feet. The agreement was for Christophe Harbor to first sign the memorandum of transfer that was prepared. But something went wrong. Buddy Darby would not have none of that. So the government has now changed. But we heard government is continuous. But Drew and his cabinet seem to want to prove that concept wrong. The development agreement stated that they would bring investment money and generate US $17 billion in 20 years. You heard that? $17 billion. That's over $40 billion in 20 years. 15 of those 20 years have gone. What have they brought? Caller, you're alive. Hello, caller.
Ian Patches, good night.
My brother, how are thou?
Extension St. Kitts and the Caribbean and the diaspora. Patches, that is a home run, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That is a home run we get in, boy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I could tell them brothers, this country ain't on satisfied that, because Timothy has gonna open the eyes, especially the youth man them on the road in Newton and Oilstown. They know much about the rest of them, but I know about Oilstown and Newton and McKnight.
Sure.
We ain't pleased with this. You say when they say they put them there for. See? A lot of people vote for the party because couple young men, they say But I know the kind of young people we get in now, they're capable and they don't care. And everybody look like the dollar. The dollar. The day the dollar die, we might get conscious people coming through. Conscious young man. But I got two things I want to talk about very serious. Back down to the port, an extension. Strasbourg. We have two young men down there. One undermine you big time, you know. One of them undermine you big time. But to that young man, I want him to know. We know about his linen over at the central bank before he come to the port. And I could assure him that young man who's operating the mobile car down there carrying tourists for almost 40 years back and forth, you will not take bread out his mouth. I warning you two young man. One just recently get some position at the port. And he feel like he gets so pompous. That young boy can't be no threat to the security there when he walking down there for 20 years. I mean almost 40 years. He provide that service. He come up with the idea where that is, I learn around here for a lot of years, yeah? You only got to give black people, certain black people, the keys and tell them you're the boss and you see the best out of them. But I'm challenging them that young man will continue making dollar down there because the port paying you all the salary and you all ever take bread out of that young man mouth. I asking for problem, you know. It looks like somebody was any politician them. It is preparation to impress the politician them. He cannot be the threat. Because that young man bring the passengers them from the ship, bring them to all the stores because these people are struggling. They're coming to me asking me what's wrong with the young man. Why he ain't operating like how he used to operate. We don't know. We don't know. It's petition trying to kick down the young boy. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Warning them, you know. Sending the message to them loud and clear, you know. Because if it was any other Asian people doing the operation, they're making the money, they would have never watch them talk about this threat to security. Warning them, you know. Actually, have a good night.
Have a good night, my dear brother. Always so passionate with your views. And someone reminded me by email, Patches, you are forgetting the numerous sidewalks that were orchestrated by you from Bird Rock to Sandy Point. Yes, all around the country. Yes, we provided pedestrian access. Thanks for that reminder, dear emailer. But yes, and Mark Brantley cannot point to one thing he has done for Nevis. Perhaps he can say he has made his firm, Brantley and Daniel, or Daniel and Brantley, more prominent. Perhaps that's an achievement. So I take that back. But my Straight Talk family, as we wind down tonight, I'll perhaps have enough time perhaps to squeeze in 2 more calls. But I want to suggest, as I said before, that for the board to proceed with any other arrangement but for taking back some of the land for the money that the bank is owed will be an affront to all shareholders in the bank. I want the board of directors to understand that government has 51% of the shares in the bank, yes. And they have 100% of the board, yes. But government is answerable to the electorate, the people. The people who make government decisions are supposed to act in the best interest of the public, rather than in the best interest of their political party. How could Prime Minister Joe in his right mind stop $500 for the 7,000 poor Kitishans on PAP? How could you, Prime Minister Joe? A poor man gets a loan from National Bank. It's hard times. And the bank sells its house. So why is you making it so easy for Christophe Harbor and squeezing the poor people on PAP? And we are not going to sit back and allow that to happen. I say that categorically. My people, we welcome investment. The country needs investment. But we must also ensure that better decisions are made in the future that will indemnify, will protect the St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla National Bank and any other company with government interests from this financial quagmire in which we now find ourselves. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Good night. How are you?
I am peaceful, my dear. Yourself?
Not too bad. Well, Mr. Bible just said the man Crosman was working where?
He was the CEO of SIDF amongst other places he worked in.
Yes, and then they give him the what do you call it from the National Bank new just now?
Yes, he's now the new managing director of the bank.
Well, maybe they do that as in order for he to then somebody has more money. Okay, if he done do one thing, he could do a second. I'm not ready because I could still hear you. With the 500, when the Prime Minister introduced it, if he introduce it, nobody else will think about poor people, right? And he know that he say under 3,000, and they was going good. But even the people them who was getting it, a lot of people was getting it. He know and he continue it. You understand what I mean? So if these come, they living here, you know, they know everything was going on. If these come and they want to say that a household ain't too much, all they got to do, they must know from the books, go and rectify it. Instead of got people in the sun to say they must sign up, and a lot of people was in the line, people them in argue. You understand? And that's not fair for people. You just come on. You see the good Timothy, our best Prime Minister, was doing. Try to walk in his shoe instead of doing these little things. What do you call it? This thing, like, 300 days. You don't go on so all the time, and nearly discover the whole of the world. And me can we come on so that he in somewhere. I forgot the name. Let's say Paris and Paris, yeah. My God. That they don't do for the rest of the time, and not trying to start to do nothing for the poor people. And as before you're going to do things for them, you're making them, this is Christmas. People looking forward to the money. Because you're sharing money or you gain money, you must take with that. It's not fair. Because we know some of the people, one sister got in 3 children, and all of them get, but them are bad hands, so if they think that them go with their hand away to them, they still want to think. And the pastor too, he knows he's a pastor. He's not supposed to encourage them, say that he portfolio. Lord, good night. I know I'm not looking to hear my voice, but as politics say, I'm done with politics.
Good night, my dear. Let's go back to the lines. Perhaps I'll take this and make this my final call for the night. Caller, you live.
Good night, Patches.
Good night, sir.
Yes, Patches. The program is very instructive. What I would like to say is that from the standpoint of infrastructural development, I think that is our mainstay in terms of economic growth. I think that over time, all Caribbean countries, you tend to look at foreign investment, foreign direct investment as an engine of growth. But that is what we call a lumpy type of investment. It's like when we have public holidays that they come once a year, and then what happens to the rest of the days that you have in a particular year? You have to have a backbone, and I think what the community government did very well, and I think you are a very instrumental part of it, is that infrastructure was put forward. And once you put infrastructure forward, the economy grows and grows and grows just by that these allocation to all those infrastructure projects, which you are very aware of because you are at the helm of a number of these projects. So my thing is that moving forward, we must be careful not to look at these foreign direct investments as some sort of saviors for us, because in the past they have not proven to be of any really material benefit to propel the economy forward. So kudos to you and kudos to community government under the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Dr. Harris, to see that vision for the growth of St. Kitts that would propel the economy from now and to the benefit of future generations.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. And I recognize the voice. Good to hear you. And you very well know that infrastructure development plays a key role in ensuring rapid economic growth and also alleviating poverty as well. Yes. You know. Yes. Thanks for your intervention.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick.
My pleasure. My pleasure. That's all right. A nice way to end it, my Street Dog family, in terms of our infrastructure development, and I'm humbled that I was part of that, you know. It is vital to economic development as it is key to achieving higher and stable economic growth. A matter of fact, the World Economic Forum stated that well-developed infrastructure not only reduces the distance between regions, but integrates national markets and connects them with at low cost to other economies. But my Street Talk family, as I wrap for tonight, because my time is done, I do apologize for the late start tonight and for the absence of my guests, who I'm happy he called in. He'll bring a different perspective as we continue to look at this issue. But don't forget, for those in the Nevis in particular, that come Monday, you have a decision to make. But as we wrap for tonight, we are saying to the Jew administration, if Christophe Harbor cannot pay back the loan, then they must give back, or you take back some of that 848 acres of land they got for just $17 million US. A memorandum of transfer was already prepared. Why they didn't sign it is anybody's guess. We don't know what's the relationship between Buddy Darby and Terence Crosman. I have spoken to them before in concert. So I know that there is some relationship. But we are saying that now government has changed, and Terence Crosman is the managing director of the National Bank. Then we must do things in the best interests of the country. Government has 51% or the majority shares in the bank, and it controls 100% membership on the board. Decisions that are made must be in the best interest of the country rather than the best interests of their political party. We are saying, how could Prime Minister Drew in his right mind stop $500 for the 7,000 poor Kittians under the pretense that they are trying to make it better? We are saying, why is Drew making it so difficult for the poor people on PAP? And we're not going to sit back and allow him to make it easy for the Christophe Harbor. Yes, the country needs investment, but we also say, not at any cost. Give back some of the land if you want to, keep the money. Let's just get a new frigate bay over there on the southeast peninsula. Let's just develop over there. 275 acres. Can make a good development in keeping with what's going on, but let the ordinary Kittitian have access, a right of refusal. The people who make government decisions are supposed to act in the best public interests. To my folks in Nevis, as a Nevisian born in St. Kitts, I implore you, think twice, think hard, think long, before you think about putting back that terrible manager called Mark Brantley at the helm. He's not good for Nevis. He has run Nevis broke. And I fully endorse, 100% endorse this caller. I never met him. But what he's saying, I fully endorse, as I said, the words of this caller. First of all, Douglas said this about Mark Brantley.
Bothers me because there is no need for that kind of arrogance. He's the most intelligent person in the world. He's the most sensible person in the world. He is the richest parliamentarian in the world. It's a glimpse of the nature of the member for Nevis. Arrogant, pompous, talking down to people. And that's not a good attitude for a politician. You need to change your attitude. You need to stop talking ill of people.
Brantley have to go, and the people of Nevis have to go to the poll and vote for the Nevis Reformation Party. Otherwise, if we do not, it will be the end of Nevis, because Mark Brantley is a bad leader and a bad manager. He do not deserve another election, another victory in Nevis. He do not deserve it. Every project that CCM have started in Nevis, every one of them is unfinished at this present moment. And I'm telling you, every one of them going over budget, every one of them, they've been going on for the last 5-6 years. And not one of them has been completed. I don't even want to talk about our hospital. I don't even want to mention our hospital.
And yes, my Straight Talk family, in conclusion, think about those 2 loans that are not being paid. And we are saying, if you don't want to pay the loans, give back some of the land. That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I'm not going to change it. I want to thank all of you who called tonight, all of you who sent emails. There are those of you who just listened on social media, Facebook, YouTube, or on WinFM radio. I just want to say thank you. You are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason I say a big, big thank you. But let me first thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I want to thank the engineers there at Wynn, Trent or Jamster. Not certain who's in the house tonight. But remember, as we go into the weekend, my Street Dog family, remember, whatever you might conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you to the night. And my Straight Dog family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe. I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, the Lord I kneel and pray, my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep and my guide, over every step I take, He will preside. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow.